That means him, right?
That means you.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Welcome to Christianarchy Today with Sean, Ethan, and Steve. The topic for today is...
The flood.
The flood, yes.
The flood.
I'm sure Noah had these glasses. Oh, we're doing another episode with it.
Can we?
Here we go.
Whoever hates on the glasses in the comment section, I don't care what
Someone
you have to say.
asked you about it.
Did they?
Yeah, they wrote, how come the glasses indoors, by the way? I'm not
Because-
They said not
look at the
bagging on you.
lights.
Yeah,
Look at the
try to be
lights.
up here under this, man.
I mean, I know I'm just so beautiful and handsome that the glorious lights shine on me, but it gets difficult being this awesome.
If there's any MMA fans out there, Tony Ferguson wears glasses indoors, so we do too.
Yeah.
So there's superstars out there that do it. We're superstars in our own worlds.
Yeah, in the kingdom of God, we're superstars.
Ooh, man.
Boom.
This is getting...
Yeah, Jeff,
thick.
you can't take this heat right here.
So our topic is the flood. Speaking of flood,
The flood, yes.
flood of humility pouring through here.
Oh, yes.
So what about the flood? Most Christians see the flood as
Worldwide.
worldwide.
Yep.
My
Do
opinion.
we have a worldwide? Do we have a worldwide?
My
No.
opinion has changed back and forth like a lot of things, but grew up believing worldwide flood because that's what I was
Same.
taught Sunday school, all that. Then went to the opinion that it was just that area flood. Then of course you hear the stories of there's ancient writings of a flood, and then there may have been an asteroid impact that caused a giant flood over the world. So that's possible too. So I have a less of a hard stance now on it.
Okay.
For me, I
Unfortunately,
think that
it was easier when I believed
dogmatic.
the worldwide flood was a lie and it was just the area, and y'all are stupid for thinking that. But now it could be.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's a could be in Steve's corner.
I think that it was a localized flood that was very major because scientific evidence supports it. Around the time of Noah as well. So I think it just makes more sense. And with my new understandings of the Bible, in knowing Jewish hyperbole, I think the world means that Noah's world was completely destroyed as they knew it. And I think if we look at archaeology and paleontology, there will be more evidence for a worldwide flood, and that's what I have to say.
And there is or there's not.
There is for a flood there, not the whole world. But there was evidence that a year-long flood.
That can be debated though.
It can be debated, but I will say this: secular scientists say that there was evidence that in that area that the Bible claims to happen, there was a flood that took almost a year to drain out.
The Great Basin. Mm-hmm. The Canyon Rim held it all. But you're saying, Steve?
Have you guys ever seen the Joe Rogan podcast with Graham Hancock and
I haven't seen that one.
What's his face?
Peter Herman?
Randall something. Well, there are these guys that have been studying a comet impact in North America that caused incredible flooding, and I think it was around 12,000 years ago or more, something like that they say this happened. And there's quite a bit of evidence for that case being made, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that it's possible.
Well, Noah's flood takes place around 4,000 years ago, so that's your
Well, I
problem.
disagree. Well, okay, I disagree with that.
Well, okay, you disagree with that.
It's 4,000. That's when they.
That's
4,000?
when most biblical people. That's how I was taught.
Well, but
Biblical archaeologists claim it.
Do they also
To
believe
be.
in the young Earth though?
Depends on who you ask, but the actual event, I haven't heard anything different.
Okay.
So it could be. I could be wrong on that, but from what I've heard, it's 4,000 BC.
I don't know about that.
So because what they say is Adam and Eve 6,000 years ago, and this is based off of the genealogies that are given. 6,000 years ago, you have Adam and Eve. 2,000 years later, you have Noah, and then 2,000 years after that, you have Jesus.
I'm still of the opinion though that of a people group interpretation of that.
Okay.
So that's probably my own fault for having such weird views, but that's why I can see it fitting in there.
You and I would agree more on that, but I would still place, if there is a literal Adam and Eve, it would have to be following the biblical genealogy, so around 6,000 BC.
All right, then I'll put it this way: if literal Adam and Eve, 6,000 years, 4,000 years when the flood happened, then yes, area flood for sure, 100%. Now, if I'm correct in my thinking that it's much older than that, and these stories took place in a less literal way, then I think worldwide flood is a very real possibility. So I think one of those two is probably correct. Who knows? But there's possibility for both of them, because the way that I think that fits nicely with what you're saying in the 4,000 year period, or 4,000 BC period. That makes sense. But yeah, if that stuff's true, then I think it's fine.
Now, relative to the flood, how about the animals on the ark?
That part I didn't know about.
Were we at a Pangea flat world in terms of mountains, and then after the flood, we have the eruption of Everest. Therefore, we didn't need that much water.
Pangea.
What?
Pangea existed 200 million years ago.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with Noah's flood. That's young Earth creationism, which I don't accept.
Wait, young Earth creationism believes it.
In Pangea, yeah. So what happened is that Noah's flood sped up the continental movements in the process, and it's in a continuous slowing down, which would make sense.
The time period doesn't make sense, though. That's way too fast.
Exactly.
That'd be like the continents would have collided again on the other side.
If every animal on Earth went onto Noah's Ark, then the only way they could get back to their original places is if it's a full continent.
I agree, but I don't agree that it's every animal.
I don't agree either. But
Okay, so neither of you think it was every animal?
No, it couldn't have been.
If the flood's not the whole world, it's not every animal.
Okay,
It would have to be the animals in that area.
If the flood is the whole world, but you say it's possible.
It's possible. I don't think it's every animal still.
So then, how did the animals get through the flood if they weren't on the ark?
A lot of them didn't. That's why mammoths are no longer a thing.
Mammoths got wiped out a few thousand years prior.
You guys are full of knowledge.
No, this is in my worldwide.
Okay, and you're in Steve's world.
2,000 years earlier.
In the worldwide flood thing, so this is part of the study of that, and part of the evidence for that flood. And this is just in North America specifically, I think.
Okay.
Well,
there's an issue.
Well, okay, I'm just saying that this mammoths, this was in North America. They're were completely wiped out from this flood from a comet hit or something.
That will make sense, but I don't think it has anything to do with Noah's
One
flood.
animal named kangaroo. That's all I'm going to say. Kangaroo.
What about it?
What about it?
The flood.
No, Australia.
What about it?
But it's there. It's not there. It's in Australia. Noah's flood. Not Australia.
So wait, you're just talking, that's one reason you say it's geographical.
It has to be geographical. One, how you're fitting two of every land species on Earth, that's a task.
So
onto a boat where we have the exact measurements for.
Right.
I
don't disagree with you. I just want to hear your logic.
I'm just saying, for my young creationist brothers and sisters who will call me a heretic in the comments below and say I'm idiotic and shut up. Just think. Does it make more sense for God in the Bible to be talking about the world of Noah in that age, in that period, in that place where there is scientific and archaeological evidence for, or does it make more sense to say that every animal from every different continent was thrown on, two, male and female, onto a boat?
And more than that, because there was like 5 of the clean and 2 of the unclean. It was more than just 2.
Yeah, it has to be that area. It just does.
Has to.
So you're back. Now you're saying has to be.
I've converted Steve.
Well, as far as that, the flood being in other areas could still be possible, I think. But
sure.
His part of where Noah fits into all this, that has to be about that area. Even if, regardless of how big or small the flood was, it has to be that area.
Okay.
I'm just saying there's possibilities.
So you're saying it could have been worldwide, but the animals were Noah's area.
How did he go all the way around the world with all these animals?
accordingly, God called the animals penguin.
No, I mean when the flood, when he's in his ark, like how would he?
That's the question. When they landed on Mount Ararat, how did the kangaroo get back to Australia?
Yeah, the animals were chilling. They were having dinner with Noah. They're having good talks. And
I
then
just
he's
think
like,
it's
all right,
from
time for you to go.
Right, and fundamentalist Christians would say the kangaroo hopped all the way and swam to Australia.
I really want to see a kangaroo swimming now.
That's the thing. It doesn't make any sense, does it?
Yeah, it does not.
I concur with you. I think the flood was geographical. I think it was in that basin. I think that's as far as the human race had spread to. That was the world at the time. The animals were the animals of that area, and that's it. But our fundamentalist friends will go ape schnit over this. No pun intended.
I mean, the evolution episode, I was surprised we got so much blowback for that. I'm reading the comments section. I'm like, are we really this off with it?
By the way, I'd like to clarify too. We weren't saying that that's how it has to be. We're just saying it's at least should be considered. It doesn't have to be either evolution or not. If you believe evolution, you're not a Christian. We should allow for the possibility of that belief in the faith. And that's really all it is. We weren't saying it has to be 100% right. Young earthers are the worst and we hate you. We weren't saying that. We were just saying that...
Well, we were saying they were the worst, but we don't hate them.
Well, their ideas were the worst. But so just remember that, guys.
I mean, for me, I adamantly disagree with young earthers and all that, but I know people who go to this studio that believe in that. And look, I love them as brothers in the Lord. I adamantly disagree with them, just like I adamantly disagree with Shawn and Steve on a variety of topics. And I act the same way with them whenever I disagree. I don't pick and choose the way I treat people. I'm just a jerk to everyone when they disagree with me.
I've just come to the thought I believe the kangaroos had jet skis. That's how they made it.
Makes sense.
The kangaroos had jet skis.
Insects too? I don't remember. Do insects get on the ark? They don't. And no fish, no orcas, no whale.
Yeah,
although you would have to deal with some type of orcas that require only eating seals, which seals don't just stay in the water, they also live partially on land. How did they survive? Boom, orca knowledge.
All right, so I want to point out that we have the youngest of the young here. We have a young in the 20s and we have in the 50s.
Almost
and we
60.
all agree within reason as Christians, the flood didn't have to be the whole world and the flood didn't have to have every animal on it. Right here.
Yeah, and a lot of times people don't even start the conversation because people should just talk about these things with each other, like we're doing. Yeah. You know, because I mean, I think we can come up with some interesting ideas of how this all works together. You know,
what's the thing that fundamental Christians who believe in a worldwide every animal? What do they say typically when they want to explain it? Isn't it usually God can do anything?
Yeah, that
doesn't that trouble you a little bit? I know God can do anything, but doesn't it trouble you when you hear that?
It's like, but God argument. Does not. I don't think God defies logic like that. Like, if we're looking at literal history, I don't think God just randomly messes things up so we don't understand. I think that's God tricking us.
Yeah, because you have to not only wonder about every animal getting on it, you have to wonder about how they ate, and you had to wonder about how they got rid of the poop, and how they drank.
Yeah.
It's just endless.
Yeah, and it's like if God can do anything like that, then that's when spirit healings come in and all this kind of, it opens the doors for all this nonsense that causes all the problems we see in Christianity today. Yeah. So it's kind of the end of the reasonable position once you start saying stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. All right, womb of doom. Whose turn?
Mine.
Reach into the womb and pull out some doom.
I'm disgusted by this jar now.
You can't handle the womb.
This is for next week.
Laws of the land versus the laws of God.
Ooh, I love this one. Next week here on CAT.
Out.